The 2025 H1 season launched on May the 17th with the annual Preseason test event in Tri-Cities, Washington. It was an impressive debut for the newly formed BWR racing team as Andrew Tate in the U91, the Miss Goodman Real Estate, posted the fastest mark of the day at over 163 miles per hour. Teammate Dave Vilwalk in the U27 Miss Apollo was second fastest with a lap over 160. Gunnar O'Farrell gave the Tri-Cities crowd a scare when he took flight in the U21 Miss Lake Ridge Paving on the backstretch. Thankfully, O'Farrell avoided serious injury and the boat sustained only minor damage. The racing action formally kicked off on June 6th through the 8th at the Southern Cup in Guntersville, Alabama. It would be the H1 debut of rookie driver Brandon Kennedy in the U6 Miss Madison, though mechanical problems would delay his driver qualification until Madison. Qualifying saw Andrew Tate threaten the Guntersville course record, posting a lap at over 171 miles per hour. He was just 0.2 of a mile per hour short of the record set 2 years prior. Racing got off to a rough start when a crash involving Dave Vilwalk in the U27 Miss Apollo caused the first heat to end before completing a full lap. The Miss Apollo hit a wake and flew through 2 rooster tails before cartwheeling to a stop. Vilwalk was able to escape without serious injury. High winds and rough water prevented any racing for the rest of the weekend, and the Southern Cup came to an end without a winner. The next stop on the tour took the fleet to Madison, Indiana for the 4th of July tradition at the Madison Regatta. Brandon Kennedy was able to complete his qualification laps in front of the hometown crowd in the U6 Miss Madison. His weekend came to an end, however, when Miss Madison's steering cable broke during Heat 2B, sending the boat into a flat spin by the Milton-Madison Bridge. Andrew Tate, Corey Peabody, and J. Michael Kelly captured victories in the preliminary heats. And in the final, Corey Peabody in the U9 Beacon Plumbing was assessed a 1-minute penalty for cutting in front of Andrew Tate in the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate during the milling period. When the race started, Andrew Tate held the lead going into turn 1 when Corey Peabody hit some rough water and hooked in front of Jamie Nielsen in the U11 Miss Flavor Pack. Peabody was disqualified and Andrew Tate captured BWR Racing's first win in Bruce Ratchford's first race as team owner. J. Michael Kelly finished second, Jamie Nielsen was third. The western swing of the schedule began at the end of July in Tri-Cities, Washington with the 115th running of the APBA Gold Cup, the oldest active trophy in motorsports. 2 teams joined the fleet in the Tri-Cities, the U21 Spirit of America with Gunnar O'Farrell making their return after the blowover crash and testing, and the U12 Graham Trucking with new driver Jeff Bernard. Heat racing was as competitive as ever, with deck-to-deck racing and photo finishes throughout the weekend. Corey Peabody in the U9 Beacon Plumbing, Jamie Nielsen of the U11 Miss Flavor Pack, and J. Michael Kelly in the U8 Beacon Electric won Saturday's preliminary heats. Dave Vilwalk in the U27 Miss Apollo and Corey Peabody won 2 heats each on Sunday. Jeff Bernard and the U12 Graham Trucking team saw their weekend come to an end during testing Sunday morning when the boat broke a propeller, causing significant damage to the transom. The biggest surprise of the weekend came in the form of top qualifier and national high points leader Andrew Tate and the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate, who failed to win a heat and didn't score enough points to secure a spot on the front row of the final heat. The 2025 APBA Gold Cup final heat was a wild one, which saw 3 boats get to the starting line too early: the U8 Beacon Electric, the U9 Beacon Plumbing, and the U21 Spirit of America. When the rooster tails settled, it was Dave Vilwalk in the U27 Miss Apollo capturing his record-tying 11th Gold Cup win and 68th career victory. 1 week later, the boats headed to Seattle, Washington for the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. The drama began immediately in Heat 1A when Corey Peabody got into Andrew Tate's skid fin rooster tail on lap 1. The boat sustained enough damage to prevent Peabody from being able to finish the heat, and Andrew Tate went on to collect the 400 points. Jeff Bernard and the U12 Graham trucking team rebounded from the thrown propeller in the Tri-Cities to grab 2 impressive wins on Saturday. J. Michael Kelly filled in for teammate Corey Peabody in the repaired U9 Beacon Plumbing during Heat 2A and drove it to a third-place finish. On Sunday, Andrew Tate continued his perfect weekend in Heat 3A, and J. Michael Kelly collected a win in Heat 3B. The final heat action started early as Jeff Bernard in the U12 Graham Trucking and Jamie Nielsen of the U11 Miss Flavor Pack collided while battling for an inside lane. At the start, J. Michael Kelly and the U8 Beacon Electric and Jamie Nielsen both crossed the line too early and were penalized 1 minute. Andrew Tate capped off the perfect weekend in the U91 Miss Goodman Real Estate, winning the final heat and reclaiming the national high points lead in the process. Corey Peabody finished second in the U9 Beacon Plumbing, while Dave Vilwalk finished in third in the U27 Miss Apollo. As the H1 Unlimited Series travels to the final race of the season in San Diego, California, it is still anyone's championship to win. Andrew Tate holds a 424-point lead over second-place J. Michael Kelly, with Corey Peabody, Dave Vilwalk, and Jamie Nielsen not far behind. Who will win the Bill Munsey Cup on Mission Bay? Who will claim the 2025 National High Points Championship? We're about to find out.